So one of the things you were interested in,
What?
and let's get into Let's Talk, was
Okay.
your girl, Gayle King, and all of these ladies going into space. Let me give the backstory, because I know you
Please.
have a lot to say about this.
I really do.
So on April 14th, journalist Gayle King, she participated in a historic space flight aboard Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket, okay, marking the first all-female crewed mission to space since 1963. Now this ride to space was 10 minutes at 21 seconds, and it reached the Kármán line, the internationally recognized boundary of space, approximately 62 miles above Earth. Now, the crew included not just Gayle King, but also Katy Perry, Lauren Sanchez, she's a philanthropist, former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, civil rights activist Amanda Nguyen, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correct, and film producer Corinne Flynn. Now, Katy Perry, during this mission, she's saying, "What a wonderful world." That was going viral. I'm sure you saw that. Now, here's what they say the mission was aimed to highlight.
Please tell me, because this is my problem.
Yeah, this is
my
what
problem.
they say it was. Okay, let me tell you what they say.
What are y'all going to space for?
Okay, so listen, the mission was aimed to highlight female representation in space exploration and inspire future generations. However, it did face some criticism.
That's right.
It was perceived as this rich people going to space.
Yes.
Because of its involvement with, like, celebrities and space tourism. But look, despite the mixed reactions, the flight did stand as a milestone.
Well, let me say kudos to them for going to space, for landing safely, for taking photos, for taking selfies in space. It's really cool, right? But overall, I'm like, what are y'all going to space for? You're calling this an exploration mission, right? What were they exploring? What were they exploring?
For 10 minutes.
We already know. For 10 minutes. First of all, I went to the gym and came out the gym, and these chicks landed already. I said, okay, what just happened?
Yeah.
And it was I just said a couple of minutes ago that the media is a circus.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm looking at this like there's, I love the fact that it was all, women, but first of all, they're all in sexy suits.
Right.
Come on. Like
Yeah.
the sexy spacesuit,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing sexy about astronauts, right? Like when we see like all of the historical stuff happening and astronauts in
It's 2025.
right? It's
They can't get
2025 and it's
sexy.
sexy astronauts. So they all coming out, they're ringing the bell. It was very sexy for me,
Yeah.
right? And even Gayle, right? Because I had seen an interview with Gayle King where she talked about it, and then she rang that bell like she didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
She rang that, but it's a meme.
Yeah.
Like she didn't want to go. Why did Gayle go up there? What was her real reason for going up there?
Yeah.
Because come on, Titi, she looked like
You think she
was
got paid to do
mortified.
that?
Yes. They had to pay them for that.
Yeah, and they
'Cause
kept
what's the
saying
point?
Jeff Bezos' fiance.
What was the point?
Jeff Bezos. They say philanthropist now, and they gave her a title, but they kept saying Jeff, the richest man in the world's wife, went, and that's why they're catching backlash, because it's like it just looked like a rich chick's.
It
flight
didn't.
to
It didn't
space.
feel like
Organic.
a real space mission.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Yeah.
they went up there. It was like, woo. That's why they're calling it a ride. They
Yeah.
said they went for this ride. They're online calling that now. And I saw Gayle King did an interview with TMZ.
Yeah.
And that came out, and she was kind of like, defending herself and speaking on it, which I thought was interesting, because a lot of times, people don't really respond to that type of criticism. And she responded to it, and she kind of came out and was like, and gave her reasoning for why she had won, and talked about the fact that it was a historic exploration mission. But I still haven't
But what
heard.
did they explore?
I haven't heard that yet.
Was
I haven't
it
heard,
like
they just went to space for a ride.
Right.
They really just, and look, how many millions of dollars were spent on that?
Yeah.
Right? Just the sexy spacesuits alone. How much did the sexy spacesuits cost?
And I wonder if Jeff Bezos put some coins up to make that happen.
Of course he did. Right?
Yeah.
And then like you got Katy Perry with the like space, all of the
singing.
footage was just kind of like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this really for?
Yeah.
Other than a press op.
And then why didn't they, if it was for like creating this female mission, why didn't they do it during Women's History Month?
I don't know. And the whole Blue Origin, like I've never heard of Blue Origin.
Yeah.
So now I've heard of Blue Origin. So was this a big commercial
Yeah.
for their rocket?
Maybe.
I mean, the country is really suffering.
Yeah.
Everybody was online like eggs are $12 and these chicks are flying in space for a ride.
Yeah.
You know, then they get off, they kiss the ground. It was like, but it was 10 minutes. They couldn't have been up there for a little bit longer.
I saw
They could've
Katy.
did 30 minutes.
I saw
They could've
Katy.
did 30
Listen,
minutes.
I saw Katy Perry kissing the ground, and I was just like, wait,
What is happening?
You're doing a little too much.
What is happening?
I kind of agree with you. I felt like this was maybe just for publicity.
It was.
I don't think there was really an exploration mission at all, because did you get off the rocket? Did they get off the rocket?
When they landed, they got off the rocket. They got off when they landed.
So they didn't actually get off the rocket in space to explore anything.
No. Can you imagine it? What were they went to the sky. They went like one layer above where the planes go. Like, and it was just kind of like, you know, wow. Like, I mean, for them.
What did they see?
I guess they saw space. They saw clouds and the earth and the moon. I know at one point somebody said online, the moon looks better from my window, right? Because, you know, you could get a full sort of shot of the moon. But I just was like, what is this?
Yeah.
In 10 minutes?
Yeah. Not much to explore. 10 minutes or 21 seconds to be exact.
10 minutes and 21 seconds. They could have did a full 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Or at least orbit the Earth. How long does it take to orbit the Earth?
Or at least, okay, so at least they could have just like took the spaceship and moved it around more in space.
Listen, I don't know what they were doing up there.
It's crazy.
Right, and then they had Oprah crying, and you know, it was all very concocted, right? It's like a story that we watch. It was a slow news week. They're like, hey, let's send, you know, women up into space in sexy spacesuits.
And you know, CBS was running all of these commercials. Gayle going to space.
Yes.
You know, promoting her
and I
show.
do believe that they went.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't believe they actually went. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, it was on a set. I do believe they went. I just think that, you know, I don't understand why they went.
I feel like my hair is giving me static vibes. Like,
You know, it's always a struggle. you know.
Yeah.
But speaking of hair, there was a lot of talk about Gayle's wig in space, and I thought, like, I was very entertained by it.
That
but
wig,
it was
I
for
love
nothing
Gayle.
else but my entertainment. I love Gayle too.
I love Gayle, but could we just spend a little bit more coins on that wig?
Yeah, because if you got money to fly into space. Let me stop, but good for her. Good for her. You know, I mean, for her, it's an experience that, you know, I mean, that's an amazing experience. But
you got a good point.
But for why? But for why?
Yeah.
But for why?
Because you didn't like find a cure for cancer and like in space. You didn't do anything.
I just was.
Go.
And Katy Perry singing "What a Wonderful World." I don't even understand why she sang that song. I mean. It's like, that was the song they picked? What a wonderful world. I get it, but...
We wasn't feeling it.
I just thought it was a lot.
Okay,
It was a lot.
so